morning. I'm so glad you're here, and it's a holiday. So I'm very grateful to be here. I love this community. I adore Edward and his brilliance and his light, and I'm very clear that I got invited here because he trusts me with his family, and so thank you so much. So my topic today is I Choose Me, a spiritual practice. How many of you are great at self-care? 3, okay. Then this is a perfect topic for you. So what we're talking about when we talk about self-care, from my perspective, is really self-love, because that's what leads us to spiritual mastery. And it's not easy because we are enculturated to take care of other people first. That's how we identify ourselves. That's where we think we get valued for our love, by how much we give. You know, there's that statement, it's more blessed to give than receive. Who made that up? Because the thing is that it's backwards what we've been taught. You know, because we've been taught to be guilty if we're not doing all this stuff for people, right? But the thing is that when you take care of yourself first, when you honor yourself first, when you lift up yourself first, you actually raise your vibration, which raises the vibration of every environment, every relationship, and every experience that you have. Because I'm thinking, if we were taking care of ourselves and highly vibrating, we wouldn't be having some of the stuff happening on the planet that we're looking at today. So what I want to say to you is that when you are not taking care of yourself, you are out of integrity with your soul. Integrity, the word comes from the Latin integer, which means to be in oneness and wholeness. When you are out of integrity with your soul and your soul's journey, which is to bring light, then you are in discord. The C-O-R in the word discord stands for connection to the heart. So when you are in discord, you are out of connection with your heart. Don't you think if we were a planet connected to our heart, we would be looking at things differently. We would be honoring each other. We would be celebrating our differences, our diversity. So this whole subject of self-care, I mean, I wrote this book for me, and then I get to share it with other people. But it was really about, especially the last 5 years, I've really been looking at this. So I'm about 35 pounds lighter than I was 5 years ago, and I come from a long line of women who have been abused and traumatized, left the planet, overweight, ill, and depressed. So 5 years ago, I'm looking in the mirror and I go, I have become them. And all my spiritual talk, all of my work, all of this stuff that I've done, I'm looking in the mirror at this aging, interesting being. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta do this differently. But you know, patterns run deep, don't they? Old behaviors run deep. You know, me and chips were one at 11 o'clock. But what I said is, I have to walk my talk. I can't get up on these platforms and these pulpits and talk about oneness and wholeness and you know, health and not demonstrate it. But you know, I love that song he just sang, Listen. Because you know, God is so interesting. First, God, you know, that still small voice is really still and small. It goes, psst, you might want to do this differently. Of course, you know, I didn't listen because, you know, I knew what I needed. So then it was like, perhaps you might want to do this differently. I got this, God, really. I'm praying, I'm meditating, it's all good. Then it was like, Perhaps you might want to do this differently. I'm like, okay, I'll eat less chips. Then it was like, bam, sit down. And that's what it does, you know, it like sits you down. Now, sometimes sit down looks like a depression. Sometimes sit down looks like illness. Sometimes sit down looks like crisis. But it's all because you refused to listen in the first place. Does anybody here know what I'm talking about? Thank you very much. So, the thing I want to tell you is that there's three things that I had to learn in this process, because this is what we know. We are original blessings. We are here by divine right action. We are powerful. We are expansive. We are magnificent. We are light. We know this. It's at the core of our being. But practicing it is something different. Practicing it is what takes us to the understanding of love and self-care. So the first thing I had to look at in this whole process with me is why are we here? Why are we here? You know, we're not all here to be Oprah or the Dalai Lama, right? Why are we here? And I believe we are here to bring the best of ourselves, the best of our light and our intelligence and our gifts. And it doesn't matter if it's in a large arena or a small arena, but the only way for you to bring the best of yourself is to stand in the truth of who you are and the power. Now, I am very clear that there's stuff going on the planet. I'm very clear that people who are in the same family are doing this. I'm very clear that there's concern and there's all this stuff that goes on. But all of that concern and worry and gossiping and fighting and all that stuff that we're doing moves us into states of discord. So the question becomes, what are we doing to wake up enough to understand what we are contributing to the discord? It's not just happening out there. If there's only one and there's a wholeness, we're in it. And so I was making my living as an actress. And, you know, it's just so interesting that, you know, you have a plan and God laughs and says, no, you'll be doing something else. And so all of a sudden, I was on a soap opera. I was doing all this stuff, and every door closed. I wasn't spiritually enlightened enough to understand it could have been a course correct. But what I did get was that I had to do something to take care of my children. So I went to work for a corporation, and I got promoted, and I became a trainer in this organization. And I was, you know, it was good. I mean, it wasn't fulfilling my soul, but I was really grateful to have skills and education enough to be able to take care of my kids. And so on a morning, my phone rings and wakes me up. And my friend says, look at the television. I turn on the television, and it's September 11th. And I'm watching planes fly into buildings. And so all of the executives from all over the world were assembled in New York. So who was left was me and one other executive. So I get dressed, and I run to work, and I run into his office, and I go, what are we going to do? He goes, I don't know. What do you think we ought to do? I'm like, this is not good. So we say, okay, we've got 2 locations. So I said, let's turn the conference rooms into quiet spaces where you can just go in and without anybody talking to you, right? Great idea. So we did it at both places. Then it was like, I'll send out an email on our internet and say, send in every church, synagogue, temple, any place you know of, we'll put it all in one place, and then people will know where they can go to get support if they need it. Great idea. So then we go to both locations, and we gather everybody. We hold each other. We cry. Some of the people had people in the towers, and so it was the most incredible love fest. I mean, everybody felt so connected and so seen. So a couple days later, the phones go back up. My boss calls me. I pick up the phone. She goes, what are you thinking? We are not a spiritual organization. Your job is in jeopardy. I don't know what happened to me, y'all. my mouth opened. And out rolled this thing that said, I am not afraid. If we cannot love each other in times like these, what are we doing? I hung up the phone and I went, I am so fired. I didn't get fired because I'm sure it was because so many people were sending emails thanking the company for caring for them. But in that moment, I realized that is what we are to do. We can't sit back and pretend that we're all spiritual and all connected and not stand for what we stand for, not speak for what we stand for, because otherwise that's called hypocrisy. But it's not easy because who loves to stir the pot in here, right? Who loves to shake everything up? But what I realized is the pot stirrers are the change agents. Ernest Holmes says, we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light, in a new life. If that's true, y'all, that's what we're here to do, is to remember that, to uncover it, to rediscover it, to bring it to the planet. And it's not easy, but it starts with this. It starts with taking care of yourself and your body temple. Because you are not your history or your herstory. You are capable in every single moment of recreation. I love that the theme this month is about creativity, because the universe is always creating. And so are we. So the thing is that I shouldn't be standing up here based on my history. An alcoholic father, a pedophile stepfather, violence and craziness through my whole childhood. Everybody in my family and all the people I grew up with, ended up on drugs, went to jail, had pregnancies out of wedlock, dysfunction. So I know I'm a miraculous unfolding. Because something in me knew that there was something else, that there was something more. So in the beginning of my acting career, things weren't going so great. I was a hostess at Denny's from 11 to 7 so that I could have auditions in the daytime, right? And I don't know if you know anything about the acting business, but it's about the tutus. You are too tall. You are too short. You are too fat. You are too light. You are too dark. You're too, right? And so you start defining yourself as a failure based on the fact that you're not in the right two, right? And so I'm in my bedroom, and I'm depressed, and I'm thinking, why am I here? So I yell at God, listen, why aren't you helping me? If you're real, you better show me something now. And my phone rang. I was a little scared to pick it up. So I pick it up, and this woman that I barely know says to me, how you doing? So I lie. I go, oh, I'm fine. So she's quiet. She goes, are your blinds drawn? I'm like, how does she know that? I go, yeah. She said, yeah, I've been thinking about you a lot for the last few days. Now, I just want you to know, I'm going to interrupt here for a second. When you ask God to help you, it shows up in interesting ways, right? Because this woman, how would she know that? And so she says, your dad was an alcoholic, right? I go, yeah. She goes, mine too. I'm going to this place called Al-Anon. Want to come with me? I have no idea why I said yes. But what it did was it started opening me to a different form of connection to my spirituality, because I grew up in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Say that 3 times fast. And I kept thinking, why is God so mad, right? So to find a different connection to my spirituality was incredible. And 2 years later, I end up in my first religious science community. And there's a little black man on the stage whose name is Daniel Morgan. His lead practitioner was Michael Beckwith. I stumbled into that community, and he stood up on that stage and he started talking about the fact that we could create the life we want. We were the captain of our ship, you know, and that our history didn't have to define us. And that started me to thinking, ooh, maybe I could do this differently. Maybe I don't have to recreate the patterns in my family. Maybe I don't have to keep being in relationships with crazy people in different bodies. Today, I have been married to the same man it'll be 18 years in August. We've been together 22 years, and I'm clear it's a shift in my consciousness. Very clear. And I was scared, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, I can make a move, I can change. Alan Cohen says, scared and sacred are spelled with the same letters. Awfulness proceeds from the same root word as awesome, terrify, and terrific. Every negative experience holds the seeds of transformation. Rumi says, sorrow prepares you for joy. It violently sweeps everything out of your house so that new joy can find space to enter. It shakes the yellow leaves from the bough of your heart so that fresh green leaves can grow in their place. It pulls up the rotten roots so that new roots hidden beneath have room to grow. Whatever sorrow shakes from your heart, far better things will take its place. But the thing is that the shifts that you want to take can't just be here. And it just can't be about meditating and praying, which are important. But you got to take action. You have to change what you're eating. You have to work this body. You know, there are 2 books. One's called Younger Next Year for Men and Younger Next Year for Women, right? Guy says the same thing. He's in his 70s and he wrote this book with this doctor, and he says, you need to be working your body 6 days a week because natural aging is normal. Decay doesn't have to do that. And so it means really looking at your stuff and your beliefs and choosing to change the way you think, to change the way you speak, and to add that to your spiritual practice that you take deeper. When you are in crisis, you go deeper. So I was at Agape when it all started, and I'm watching everything blow up, and I'm watching Michael speak in front of thousands and travel all over the place, and I'm exhausted watching him. And so I go, what, do you sleep? He said, yes, I expand my container. What does that mean? He said, I work out with a trainer 3 times a week. I eat really healthy. When I'm feeling stressed, I meditate more. I pray more. And so as I'm in this whole space that I was telling you about, I all of a sudden had to go, oh, maybe I better expand my container. Maybe I better change the way. So I changed the way I ate. I changed how much I worked out. I changed my spiritual practice because I understand that change happens here. If you want your life to be different, if you want to move in a different direction, you change it here. And that means you co-create with Spirit because that's what you are. Spirit, you can pray all day long, but Spirit needs you to be in action. It works through you. It works through your container, through your being. And so that self-love and that self-care is important because you are essential, because you are important on this planet. This is what Eckhart Tolle says. You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. Why wouldn't you take care of yourself? to model for the people that you love what it looks like to be healthy, to be vibrant, to be vital. I'm going to ask you in this moment to gently uncross your legs, uncross your arms, sit up in your seats, and to just gently close your eyes and begin to breathe. The heart math tells us that the heart is intelligent. It informs the brain rather than the other way around. It is the first place that you can measure intelligence in an embryo. I'm going to invite you to just breathe into your heart and begin to quietly say to yourself, I choose me. I choose to love me. I choose to honor me. I choose to put me first. I choose me. And breathe that in. To just really breathe in that there is a universe that loves you deeply, that consistently and constantly conspires for you no matter what experiences you've had. That in the moment that you choose yourself, that you choose to love yourself, that you choose to lift yourself and choose to honor yourself, something powerful happens. Just breathe that in. And breathe in the fact that in this moment, we are a consciousness of unity in this space. And so it is from this place that I invite you to join me in prayer. We give thanks for the wholeness and the oneness of the divine spirit. That intelligence that is flowing through every cell of our being, every breath we take, every thought we think, spirit made manifest. And so we stand in the awareness that right here where we are, something beautiful is occurring. Something expansive is occurring. Simply because we exist. And so we open in this moment to the awareness that we are one, that we consciously move away from those spaces of discord into places of integrity with our soul, integrity with the journey, integrity with the fact that we are here as agents of the divine, manifestors of creation. And that any old ways of being, any old doubts, any old fears have no power here because we are who we have been waiting for. And so we just breathe that in. We breathe it in. Breathe it in. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. God is the stillness deep in your center. God is a love that makes your own heart beat. God is the voice sweetly singing its glory. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Oh,
Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Be in the light. God's will is the way. Let faith be your sight. God's will is the way. We are the light. We are the way. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. And so in this moment, we give thanks for every life experience, everything that brought us to this moment. And in this moment, we decide. We decide to choose love, to choose peace, to choose grace, to choose harmony. We place on the altar of the divine any old ways of being, any fears, any doubts, any concerns, any non-supportive behaviors. Because what we know in this moment, that this is a transformative moment. Light is shifting things moment by moment by moment. And so we open to the infinite possibilities of life that we have been given, and we move into partnership with the divine. Self-care, self-love, self-honoring. And so I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I can release this word, knowing that we have come together today as an act of faith and a statement of courage that the answer to our life is yes. Always has been, always, and ever shall be. Be in the light. God's will is the way. Let faith be your sight. God's will is the way. Ooh, we are the light. We are the way. Open your heart. Let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. Open your heart, let the Lord have its own way. And so it is. Thank you.